Hi everybody, my name is Laura Carrillo, also known as the Feng Shui Lady, and my Feng Shui business is called Narrative Space Feng Shui. So today I'm going to talk about crystals because I get a lot of questions about them, and they are the most popular, commonly used cure in Feng Shui. They have so many great universal uses, and I wanted to do a video specifically about them. So let's talk about crystals. Now, Feng Shui crystals, these round, faceted crystals, are very specific. They're not just the kinds of crystals that you go to the crystal shop to buy, like this is considered a crystal or gemstone. So people refer to these things as crystals, but I'm specifically referring today to Feng Shui crystals. And to get the best quality Feng Shui crystals, I recommend Swarovski crystals. And where you want to procure these crystals are places like holistic bookstores, crystal stores, and ideally Chinatown, to be perfectly honest, is where I go to get mine. You want to select your crystal in person, and here's why. You want to make sure that the crystal is of high quality and that it's pristine. Much like selecting a diamond, you want to consider things like cut, clarity, color, size, all of those things. And when selecting a crystal in person, you want to make sure that there are no flaws or scratches on the crystal. If it has a scratch on it, that's probably not the crystal that you should choose. Look for the most idyllic and pristine crystal that you can find, because the power of the crystal is in that cut and clarity and the refraction of light throughout your space. So the other thing to think about when selecting a crystal is size. So the crystal should be in proportion with the size of the room that you are using it for. So in this case I'm showing you two crystals. I have a very large crystal and I have a very small crystal. So something like this, a smaller crystal, is the ideal size for, say, a small bathroom. Where something larger, such as this one, is ideal for a living room or a larger space. So size is important. You want to make sure that your crystal is in direct proportion with the size of the room that you're choosing. There's also different colors of crystals that you can select from, but the most common color is clear, and clear is works across the board for any specific intention that you may have. However, if you want to have a more specific intention, like for love, a pink crystal would be ideal. So this is a small pink crystal. This other one is a clear crystal. They also come in purple and blues and greens and all the, spectrum of rainbow colors. But you're pretty safe with a clear crystal, and like I said, you can do a pink crystal for love or a purple crystal for prosperity. So you do have options like that. Some other things to think about with crystals are how to clear them. When you bring home your crystal, before you place your crystal, you want to clear it. And there's a couple of different ways you can do that. You can immerse your crystal in sea salt. So you pour the sea salt into the bowl and then immerse your crystal in it, leave it there for about 20 minutes, take it out, rinse it, and it's now cleared. That's my initial clearing technique that I use. And then after that, I might either sage or Palo Santo. These are clearing tools that you burn. Sage is a little bit more commonly known than Palo Santo, but they're both used as clearing tools. Palo Santo is a little bit more intense, shall we say, or powerful, and it's great for clearing an initial clearing of a crystal or clearing out heavier, more intense energies, whereas Palo Santo has sort of a lighter touch and a higher vibration. It also has a really beautiful aromatic scent. It's like a little bit like frankincense, whereas sage is a little bit more pungent. So Either one of these is great for clearing the crystals. I like the sage as an initial clearing and the Palo Santo as a maintenance on your crystal, because you don't always have to do such a powerful clearing on it. Something a little bit lighter is fine too for maintenance. And by maintenance, I mean periodically you want to rinse and clean your crystal and clear it with either of these, or you can go back to the sea salt. But a simple saging or Palo Santo is great for maintenance. Another thing that we can talk about for crystals is stringing them. These are red Feng Shui strings. Literally, they're for crystals. And you can order these on Amazon. That's how I get them. And just, type in red Feng Shui string for crystals and it'll pop up. They're inexpensive and they're great. So when you're stringing a crystal, you want to cut your string in multiples of 9. And you want to ideally use red string. Here's why. The red is a power color and it helps amplify the effects and the energy of the crystal. And the multiples of 9, meaning 9 inches, 18 inches, or 27 inches as a stringing cut, are 9 is a number of completion. So when you combine the red string with the multiple of 9 and you hang your crystal, this crystal is hung at 18 inches. That's my most typical hang for your average ceiling. You can do 27 inches for, say, like a higher ceiling, or 9 inches when you have kind of a shorter ceiling or a smaller space. So that combination of the 9 inches, 18 inches, 27 inches, and the red string sort of empower the crystal and amplify its effects. So that's stringing the crystal. Now let's talk about how crystals work, because that's probably the biggest question that people ask me. And it brings to mind for me a quote by Stephen Hawking, who is a famous quantum physicist. And Stephen Hawking says that the future development of medicine lies in treatments based in light and color. Light and color. What does he mean by that? Well, there's all these new medicinal treatments and therapies that are based on laser technology, so light and color. And the way crystals work is that they refract light and create these prisms of light. So there's this rainbow light being emanated and dispersed from the crystal. And when you hang the crystal in a specific placement, like windows are great, and the light shines through the crystal, these rainbows of light at certain times a day then are imparted throughout the space, and it's really beautiful. But in addition to being really beautiful, they're actually energizing the space. So that's essentially how they work. That's one aspect of how they work. I also refer to intention. So it is a twofold effect. So when you get your crystal and you select it and you pick a placement for it, like for instance your love gua, you set your intentions upon it, typically while clearing it. So after you've cleared it with sea salt and you're rinsing it or saging it, at that time you would impart your blessings upon it and your wishes and your hopes and dreams for, say, love or abundance or whatever your intention for that crystal is, and whatever it is that you're clearing or amplifying or attempting to raise the vibration. So that combination of your intention upon the crystal, the placement of the crystal, and the actual energetics of the crystal are the cure or the enhancement for whatever area of life you're placing that crystal in. Which brings me to placement, selection of where you're going to place the crystal and why you would place it there. These are Feng Shui crystals, which is why I would recommend having a Feng Shui consultation to see what areas of your home could use a raising of the vibration or a healing or a cure. So in some spaces there are missing guas, and guas are energetic centers of life in Feng Shui, and they include everything from career, love, money, health, your creativity and children, basically every area of your life. And some area of your home represents a specific area of your life, and sometimes you can physically see in that area it's not properly lit, or part of it is actually missing, or the energy there feels heavy, etc., etc. There's any number of things that I would visit someone's space and be able to then reflect to them what the space is communicating energetically and symbolically. And then I might recommend something like a crystal, among other things that I would recommend, but a crystal would be considered a cure. And in my case, I like to think of them as edits as well, because I call my business narrative space, because your space is essentially telling your story. And with Feng Shui, you can edit that story, you can enhance that story, you can even rewrite that story. So this is a helpful tool in, enhancing your story. So as far as placement, ideally you would want to have a Feng Shui consultation where you can see what areas of life you'd like to amplify or could use a little enhancement. But some basic placements that I can suggest right off the top of my head would be having a really nice crystal at your entrance, because your entrance of your home is considered the mouth of qi. And when you place a crystal such as this above the entrance, it actually invites positive qi or energy into the home and to the home, and raises the vibration and opens up your space to opportunity and blessings. So your entrance is one of my favorite placements for crystals. And then of course we can get into the whole energetics of your space via the Bagua and what's going on in your life, and we can talk about if, say, you wanted to enhance your love gua or your prosperity gua, then I would tell you where that is, and we would be able to then, say, place a crystal. So finally we come to, how do you actually install these crystals? Well, it's actually very easy. You just need a hammer and a nail, and those little hooks that you hang plants with. You take your hammer and your nail, and if you're hanging it from the ceiling, you simply tap your nail into the ceiling maybe 3 or 4 times, then pull the nail out, take your hook, and literally screw it into the ceiling just like that, and then you hang your crystal from it. Very simple, just like when you do hanging plants. And you can get the hooks at Home Depot, and everybody should have some hammer and nails at home too. So it's really very simple. There's also another great placement would be in windows. If you happen to have a window with a little latch, you can hang it from the latch, because then the light can shine through the window and through the crystal, imparting those beautiful rainbow lights that I was talking about. So I think that covers everything to do with crystals, as far as, how they work, how you select them, how to hang them, place them, where you would want to place them. But if you have any other questions, please reach out to me at narrowspacefengshui.com. You can also call me if you want your own personal Feng Shui consultation. You can reach out to me at 415-902-4846. And I hope that this crystal video has been helpful. Thank you so much, everybody, and blessings.